Welcome everyone to our event. Our part of the program, it is on vendor payments and trends. And with us, we have our distinguished guests, and I'll let them talk to you about their companies first. And then what we'll do is you'll get kind of a flavor of their expertise. Each one of these gentlemen is extremely well qualified to talk about what's going on in the industry. You know, studies and projections are that mobile payments are going to be in the trillions and growing over the next few years. And I'm a big believer that all boats float in a rising pond. And these are some of the key players that I think that you guys will get to know over the next couple of years as everyone grows and takes advantage of this fantastic market. I'm Greg Casey. I'm with Global Gig. Global Gig puts the mobile in point of sale, mPOS. We provide a global SIM card that works in handheld devices in near 200 countries on 800 different carriers. And so we're a big enabler of mobile point of sale. And my interest obviously is to see that it grows and see that it grows on a mobile basis, because that's where a ton of growth is going. So with that, I'll give you to Venkat Chandra. Venkat, I'll let you introduce yourself.
Hey, thanks, Greg. Hello, everybody. Hope it's a good afternoon for most of you. First of all, let me take this couple of minutes to thank Shiloh and the MCP team for giving us an opportunity to talk about what we are doing in our companies, and more importantly, for organizing this event. I know how much Shiloh has followed up with each and every one of us in getting the data and the information. So I really thank you, Shiloh, for being diligent and making this happen. It's really a wonderful forum for people like me coming from outside of the payment space and trying to disrupt what's been taken for granted for many years. So my name is Venkat. Venkat Chandra is what I go by, and I founded a company called iCashOut 4 years ago, and because I was bored of working in Wall Street and got tired of doing the number crunching there, I really wanted to open up a restaurant. But when I worked there, a friend of mine said, before you open a restaurant, you better work there to understand what's involved. And he said, I will give you 3 days to work in my place. And if you survive till Monday, let's talk about opening your own restaurant. And I went there Friday night, and Saturday afternoon, I said, you were right, this is not my thing to do. But in the process, what I learned is that in the small to medium-sized businesses, there's a lot of technology tools. There's so much of POS, sophisticated POS systems, but a restaurant owner has no time to understand and to use the potential of a point of sale or everything that it has to offer, because they are constantly putting out the fires related to the business and trying to deal with operational issues and things like that. And in the end, the technology piece takes a backseat. And that's where we came into position iCashOut as a technology partner for small to medium-sized business, which focuses on providing two things. Give them an easy-to-use technology platform that can help smoothen their business operations, and also provide a technology that brings them new business. That's what we primarily focus on. And we are doing that by providing them a singular platform for them to use, for them to either use it for online ordering or kiosks or any of the customer-facing technologies, which became more relevant in COVID, which is called, in a grand way, a contactless ordering. So looks like somebody's not able to hear properly. Bottom line is our technology is an open platform. Whether the customer has a point of sale, has a legacy point of sale, or a no point of sale, they can use our technology and get all the modern technology features such as online ordering, kiosk, QR code ordering, order and pay at the table, or any of the customer facing ordering tools. And we are open to all kinds of payment processing, not just the traditional credit card and all the cash payments, but they can also accept any new payment technologies that is coming up in the horizon. And the best part is we can latch on to the existing hardware that is in the store. If they have a hardware, if they don't have any hardware, we can provide a very simple technology solution that sends the order direct to the kitchen. That's what iCash out in short. And thanks again, team, for providing me the opportunity to speak here.
Great. And so very simply, why would somebody use your company? Why would somebody partner with your company? Very quickly.
Sure. If you want to get into all modern online ordering or contactless ordering technology, and you don't want to invest very heavily in POS system, you can work with us. We let you keep what hardware you have, what payment processor you have, and just get the technology piece that will help you improve your business.
Excellent, excellent. Okay, and next with us is Ronnie. Ronnie, I'll let you introduce yourself. Coming to us from New York, and
Yes.
one of my favorite places. So go ahead, Ronnie.
Thank you, Craig. We are in the business of mobile payments, and primarily we focus on online, in-store, and on mobile transactions. We have today over 8,500 merchants, and we have basically products that are fintech products. We have products like a platform similar to Shopify that basically a customer can load these products, he can have a website, the same inventory system from the website, and it would sit also on the point of sale system in the store. And he definitely can make transactions in the actual mobile phone. We have also a payment gateway. The payment gateway allows us very much to save the cost on transactions. So we are connected directly with Visa and MasterCard in this respect. The third platform that we have is CrowdPay. CrowdPay, we enable small businesses to raise capital for their business through crowdfunding. We're licensed through FINRA to do this type of transactions. And then is the part of the merchant services. The merchant services, basically, we are working with First Data and TSYS, and we are boarding merchants. We are a wholesale ISO. So we do the underwriting, the risk, the monitoring, the customer support, and we have also the sales force and the ISOs that we are feeding with orders. This year, we're starting with new verticals of business. One of them is crypto acceptance. So we accept cryptocurrencies on the e-commerce platform, and we're starting probably within a couple of months to accept them on the point of sale system. We're offering also ATM bits that are ATM machines that get cash and accept load them to Bitcoins. And we are launching also the Events Capital that we would start lending money to small businesses. Since the pandemic, we're getting a lot of requests, how can we have the website as fast as possible? And the main focus that we are doing is really customization. So it's not a software out of the box. We can fully customize to the tailor-made needs of each one of our merchants. I mean, for example, of baseball teams that needed the solution, so we created a fully online order that is getting transactions from ordering the ticket to the game and getting into the game. They can order at the concession stand, and they can go and purchase merchandise. Everything is tracked to the same credit card and tracked to the same place. Also, similar situations, we do very large cafeterias for businesses, and since businesses are coming back to work, we enable them now that they can pre-order, or they can pick it up at the point station, or just go to the kiosk, make the order. The kiosk goes directly to the kitchen display, and it makes the order itself. So that's on a nutshell what we do. And we decided also to get moving forward with anything that is related to digital assets and transactions. So we formed another subsidiary that it's called DMint, and we're going to start mining Bitcoins that in the future we plan with those assets to lend money to small merchants. At the same token, we're also filing for a bit license to be able to have like a charter bank in this respect. Thank you, everyone.
Greg, you're on mute.
The powers that be muted me for some reason. Ronnie, that's one heck of a platform if you can do online ordering, billing, ticketing, couponing for a baseball team or for anybody else.
That was a very large project, and we're very proud that now we're planning to replicate it to different sport events or any type of events.
So,
I forgot to mention that we're creating now NFTs. So basically, if you purchase a ticket, you want to resell it to somebody else, just through QR codes, you will be able to pass it.
Online scalping too, that's wonderful. What I love about this particular space is that it's so entrepreneurial. And I'm just wondering, how long would it take you to stand up something like that for a company, from collaboration and design to production?
Well, we have a very large team of developers. My background is software development and not the payments. So we have a very large team of people that are constantly focusing. We have our own platform, so we have the APIs and the gateway, so pretty much everything is interconnected.
Fantastic, fantastic. Thank you. So with that, I'll bring you to our last speaker. This is still the introduction, by the way. Claude, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself?
Yeah, certainly. Thanks, Greg, and appreciate the opportunity to be here and to chat with everybody. Claude Clausing, I'm the Chief Business Development Officer for Exact Payments. We are a third-party independent payment gateway company focusing primarily in the e-commerce and digital payment space. We've been around about 21 years. I've joined the company with a recent investment back in November of last year. And we've quietly been delivering white label payment gateway services for some of the largest banks and processors in North America across the history of the company. As we've come in, we've sort of reimagined and refactored the growth plan for the company. We took all the best assets of all of the gateway services that we delivered, consolidated all of that into the Amazon Web Services Cloud just this past spring, refactored all of our APIs and delivered those in a more modern developer framework. We'll be working over the course of the next several months to enhance the features and services that are there, looking at feature functionality like network tokenization and real-time card account updater and a number of other services that are really intended to double down on the notion that independent gateways have a lifespan. There are banks that are certainly looking to meet the needs of e-commerce and digital commerce merchants. But probably most importantly for our go-forward growth and really, I think, germane to the trends and integrations notion of this conference session is the idea that software companies, by and large, are really beginning to embed payments deeply into the experience that they deliver to help small businesses or any number of other niche businesses operate the majority of what they do. And at the end of the operation and the end of the exchange of value between a business and their consumer, you've got to have some exchange that occurs. So we want to provide tools and services that help folks in that space really dive in and more fulsomely deliver the experience that they want to across the entirety of their platform for the merchants that are running their business on that, and deliver payments in the most reliable, highly scalable manner that we possibly can across any number of different payment types and payment vehicles. So excited to see where we go with the conversation, recognizing that we're just on intro. Greg, I'll wrap it up there.
Thanks. My mute button wasn't cooperating. So Claude, I'm a desperate entrepreneur, or I'm a desperate large company. Which one am I? And I need, so entrepreneurially, a lot of us understand that a lot of this is just putting pieces of things together, right? And in order to form something better. And so if I'm in that mode, what do I come to your company for?
Well, we'll help relieve that desperation, Greg. I hate to see desperate people, whether they're big companies or small companies or just budding. So we'll do our best to provide, some sort of consultative relief to help with that desperation. We, at our core today, we help enable the delivery of transaction processing services. When we refactored the APIs for transaction processing, we recognized that as we dive into the next phase of growth, whether you're a bank looking to deliver gateway services to your merchants, or a software company looking to embed payments inside of your system, simplifying that onboarding experience is a big piece of what has to go on. So our first enhancement to the API stack was to build a gateway onboarding API to make that simple and easy to light up new accounts. And we'll be adding the full stack of acquiring services before the year here is out, so that we can deliver kind of that seamless, not just payment acceptance from the technology of moving the transaction back and forth, but really the entire life cycle of the payment acceptance experience for our customers directly. And then for software companies that are looking again to embed those payment systems into there, rather than relying on a third party to provide that merchant services account, we believe that we'll be able to deliver a more comprehensive all-in-one type solution that they'll be able to consume, again, with the intent of them being the face of the services that are being provided. So I hope that answers. Remove desperation, solve payment enablement.
Yeah. You didn't mute me again, so I'm happy about that. It really does. And 3 great companies. I'm really excited. This is the thrill of my life, is to talk with new companies, right? So we're talking about payments, and we're talking about trillions of dollars of payments. I'm going to ask the panelists 3 words. Give me 3 words on your approach to security. So I'll let you think about that a little bit. I'm interested to see the differences and in what you believe your approach is. But obviously, security is really big now. Between Russian hackers and nothing against Russians, but they did shut down our Northeast power grid, so that was a little bit of a problem. But what are your 3 words, Claude, when you describe security? What is it that you guys are really honing in on?
It's funny. I'm thinking about our security officer and the amazing things that he does to try and keep us safe and keep this stuff in the forefront of all of our mind. And I'm going to go so far as to use a 3-word phrase, Greg. And I think it's always practice paranoia.
Yeah, okay, okay. Is there a specific solution that you lean towards? Obviously, you hear a lot about blockchain in the context of cryptocurrency. How is it that you approach that problem?
Well, I guess there's a couple of different sides of that, Greg, and as we're thinking about the growth of the business. So in the delivery of the transaction lifecycle itself, the core of what we do is card-based, right? So card exposure, PCI, has been a household term now in the merchant services and payment space for the better part of 10, 15 years. We're looking for ways to make it easy for the merchants that consume our services to get as far away from the card data as possible. So the integration layers that we offer today through hosted payment pages, tomorrow through a JSON SDK, JavaScript SDK that we'll use to allow developers and merchants at those developers to remove themselves from any exposure to that card. We're looking at network tokens as probably the most likely way to secure that data and encrypt. I don't necessarily want to be a token service provider and take on that liability. Again, with the idea of providing independent third-party services across lots of different processors, I think network tokens directly from the card brands is probably a great way to simplify merchant portability across platforms. And I think advancing with additional services like EMV3D Secure to try and drive liability out of that system, along with these sorts of tools and services, embedding mobile wallets from the card brands into the platform and making those services available are certainly ways that we can push that security concern for the storage and the maintenance of card data as it sits in the platform. When I think about bringing new card acceptors into the ecosystem on board the platform, be it for just gateway services or for the full stack acquiring that we're building alongside of that, I think the notion of security extends into all of the regulatory environments and some of the other concerns about bad actors coming into the system. So making sure that we're integrating the latest tools and services for advanced anti-money laundering, AML, and know your customer, KYC kinds of functionality to ensure that as new acceptors come into the ecosystem, you're doing everything you can to vet and prevent bad guys from sort of penetrating the security of what goes on there. That's probably the way that we're looking at that most.
You take a very comprehensive approach to security. Let me ask Venkat, what comes to mind when you think of security? What is it that you think is the trend, and where are you pushing things? Because I know you guys push things in a certain direction, right? Nobody
Sure.
just let's let everything go.
Yeah.
Whatever. So what is it that you believe is the trend in security for
So a 3-word is less is more. Okay. The less information and less data we gather and the less we process on our side, the more we keep things in our scope is where the problem starts. So from an iCashOut perspective, we've always been very focused on trying to be out of scope when it comes to card data or any of the payment processing information. And thanks to people like Claude, the gateways have become so good in terms of giving us a true out of scope solution, and yet give us the capability to understand whether the transaction was approved or not. Makes our job, which is much more easier, and not having to go into the business of securing the data, right? All we want to know is whether that particular transaction, is it being processed and approved by the bank or not? right? We don't want to get into the rails where no matter whether it's card present, card not present, or peer-to-peer payments, there are so many new and newer payment paradigms coming up, and everybody wants to know what is the money we are charging and whether it is successful or not. And none of my merchants, none of my customers want to know how it is done or what it is done. A customer wants a transaction and a confirmation number. A merchant wants the same stuff, for which we don't need to get into scope for doing that. So in simple 3 words, staying out of scopes for people like us is the best way to secure the system for us. Greg, I think you're muted again.
Muted myself. You'd think that, 6 months or wow, how much has been over a year of conference bridging after March of 2020, I would finally understand that I have to unmute myself. So, yeah, interesting statistic. At the beginning of March, I think Microsoft had 10,000 people on team. At the end of March last year, they had 40 million. I went 10 million to 40 million on Teams. So somebody told me that Teams is interested in being an operating system, which I thought was interesting. To what extent is there any application of some of the conferencing bridges and mobile payments? Is there some way that there's some entertainment going on that's mobile, and then suddenly up pops a screen and you can buy merch, right? For entertainment. I mean, so many things are going virtual these days. Do you see any trends that you ever have any use cases in that? Then I'll open it up to questions from the audience.
I see there's a list of questions on the chat that I don't know who have to answer them. I mean, I can address the thing that is related to the cryptocurrencies.
Yeah, well, I'll answer that question then.
Right.
If you don't like the question, I would say if you don't like the question somebody asked you, answer a different question. So,
well, I don't know if all the questions are related to me or to everybody, so I can answer all of them. Happy to answer. So basically, the cryptocurrencies, we see the adoption, but we see the adoption in a very slow and baby steps, because first of all, the merchant have to get the right education. We are getting the education internally when it comes to AML, KYC, and all the fraud components, because it's 10 times more complicated than doing a credit card transaction in this respect. And there's a lot of compliance and regulations that are way more complicated than just basic transaction. I definitely see certain industries getting the adoption earlier and faster than others. It would take some time to get your coffee with Bitcoin, but it would be much faster if you buy large things, large ticket items online in this respect.
thank you. Claude, what do you think about cryptocurrency in the mobile payments arena?
It's a doozy of a question, Greg. What do I think personally? Personally, the volatility on crypto to me is still uncertain. I think the last 2 or 3 years we've seen a lot of people parking it in as a investment vehicle rather than a transaction oriented kind of approach. I thought when I thought when Tesla backed away from accepting Bitcoins for cars, it was an interesting move by a gentleman who certainly had a hell of a lot of impact in our industry. Thinking back to his days at PayPal and other things. So I don't know that, crypto for coffee, as an example, is probably a likely scenario in the near term. But I see an awful lot of conversation around the notion of stablecoin, and I'm a believer in the idea of shared ledgers as means to make sure that there's safety, security, and validation, verification across the ecosystem. So I think we'll continue to see innovation there. And again, I think we'll see people who, from an entrepreneurial perspective, try to figure out how to stabilize things to get to a more transactional nature once they've taken the initial money off the table, so to speak, and the growth of the value of the coin over the course of the next couple of years. Thinking about what Ronnie had described as getting into mining to create a source of income to fund cash advance and merchant loans and things along those lines. It's still primarily being viewed as a growth vehicle, I think, as opposed to a transaction vehicle. But
yeah, and the DeFi transactions definitely it's going to be the rails for banking in this respect.
Yeah, I think the ledger for sure.
Venkat, what is your view on cryptocurrency?
I agree with the philosophy of coffee for crypto. Is still not something of a tangible thing. Crypto will definitely play in the spaces of larger transaction, but not for a smaller transaction. However, I do believe that having a Venmo kind of a solution, which speed things up in terms of how quickly a merchant gets the money in his bank, eliminating the overheads, those peer-to-peer payment between the consumers and the service providers is something I see being a real value in the current business, more than having a crypto kind of alternate payments.
That's awesome. That's a great answer. And so I think we're going to run up against our final question here pretty shortly. So let's address something that I understand probably better than I would understand transactions, and that is the physical world, right? So mobile payments, are they moving off of the countertop and into the handheld or into the phone device? I mean, obviously, there's a number of great solutions for that, where you can do transactions. Also, if they are moving to handheld devices, what do you make of a cell phone-based device versus a device that's specialized and has a number of unique applications to it that's designed for a particular business? I know on the oil field, a lot of that was being developed in terms of charging and ordering from not laptops, tablets, and it just makes things so much easier. So Venkat, why don't we start with you? What is your view on handhelds, true mobile devices versus countertop?
I really think that this whole thing is moving towards where our phone becomes our digital wallet for all practical purposes. So it's we won't be walking around with the physical cards anymore. So it's more of a merchant pushing the bill to your phone, and that where we are seeing a lot of towards. Going back to your question on security, this pushing the ability for customers to pay from their own phone really eliminates all of the security overheads, the hardware overheads, and all of that. So that's where I see the mobile payments going, more moving away from the traditional chip card readers and things like that, by putting the bill directly on the customer's phone and having the customer pay by themselves.
Excellent. Ronnie, your view?
Yes, I totally agree. We gear all our applications to be compatible on the mobile devices because most of the time you spend with your iPhone in your hand and you want to solve all those issues in one place. So checking your bank account and making a payment, at the point of sale, it would always be easier to do it through one device instead of swiping a card and doing those things. So we definitely are trying to make it part of the ecosystem, and every application is responsive in this respect for the mobile devices.
Excellent. And Claude, how about you?
Yeah, not to just be an echo chamber, but I tend to agree. I was tangentially related. I was reading something this morning where MasterCard is, announcing today, I believe, that starting 2024, even the mag stripe will be an option on the cards that they issue. So they're taking the first stand to the removal of dependence on traditional vehicles of swipe and mag reading, and they'll go just straight chip on the card. With regard to the mobile component, if you'd asked me this question 3 or 4 years ago, there's no way I would have mentioned QR codes anywhere in this conversation. But over the course of the last 12 to 16 months now, I guess, everyone understands what to do when they see a QR code. So from the menu on the table that you're pulling up on your phone to the QR code that shows up in many restaurants now on a receipt that enables mobile payment directly from the consumer's device back into the point of sale and into the merchant themselves. I think people have been conditioned at a really accelerated pace over the course of the pandemic to be predispositioned to my phone does everything I possibly need, be it video conferencing, paying my bill, checking my balance on a card, or the worst thing that you could do with a telephone, which is just actually make a phone call anymore. So I think that will continue on at an accelerated rate here over the next several years.
Great. Thank you. And gentlemen, thank you very much. We're now 3 minutes over our allotted time. I don't know how our sponsors feel about us going over. I could talk to you guys for a couple hours. I have a lot of questions myself. For the audience, please feel free to contact any of the speakers. They want you to contact them. They have lots to offer, as well as myself. And I think what we'll do is conclude today's session. So thanks again, and we'll see you all next year, if not sooner.
Fantastic. Thanks, Greg. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, Craig.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah.